When you're driving on the motorway and a panic attack hits you, you really only have your own resources, but you're fighting your own mind. It's you against yourself. A panic attack is the sudden onset of intense fear. They're not dangerous, but they can be extremely immobilizing, terrifying, and not to mention inconvenient. I had a job as a London tour guide, yet I was terrified of the London Underground escalators because of panic attacks, so I avoided the tube and took buses for 2 years. So fear creates avoidance behaviours which then limit our whole experience of life. I discovered meditation around 3 years ago, which was suggested to me for low self-esteem. And after a few false starts, I eventually got the hang of it, and I quickly fell in love with the deeply relaxing physical benefits. Shortly afterwards, I started to realise the amazing mental benefits. So metacognition is the scientific name we give to the fact that humans have the ability to think about the fact we are thinking. Now, animals don't have this ability, it's what sets us aside. And to be able to notice our thoughts really gives us control over them and takes the power back. So what meditation does is, during the practice of meditation, we are returning to a focus on the breath. And every time we get distracted by a thought, we just notice it and then we come back to the breath. And what this simultaneously does is it trains us that in everyday life, we can come back to the present moment at any time. Once we notice we've been distracted, we can come back. And so this can be in the middle of a fully blown panic attack on the motorway, or just catching sight of ourselves in the mirror and hearing that inner critic say that our reflection is inadequate. So when we realise that thoughts create feelings which create behaviours and vice versa, we can train ourselves to choose which emotions we feel through meditation practice. We can self-regulate our thoughts, which then controls our behaviour. Now, neural pathways that fire together, wire together. So the more we practice, just 20 minutes a day, the more we are gluing these pathways of compassion. And because there's a limited amount of synapse glue in the brain called SYNCAM1, we're then removing the amount of the capacity that we have for negative feelings such as fear. Meditation also shrinks the amygdala, which is the fight or flight centre in the brain. So since learning meditation, my mission now is to help everybody to understand across the world that you can say no to fear and replace it with feelings of joy, love and happiness.